Hello, everyone, and welcome to Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. I am Colleen Vander Zijden, the host of the show, and tonight we are going to be talking about loving your triggers. And as usual, as you're joining in, please do say hello. And it's going to be a fun show tonight, absolutely. And as you're joining in, I'll give you the details. As I said, I am Colleen Vander Zijden. I am a registered medium here at Lilydale Assembly. I am a certified empowerment coach. I am the author of this book, Courageously You, and my purpose in life is to help people see how amazing they are and to help them recognize they can have the most amazing life that they want to have. And lilydaleassembly.org is where you are going to find out about everything that is going to be happening this summer in Lilydale. And we are the largest spiritualist community in the world, and people from all over the country come here, the world come here to see mediums, to experience the peace that is Lilydale. We have a summer season with lots of workshops going on and all sorts of wonderful events. And our season this year starts June 19th. The events are all listed on lilydaleassembly.org, as well as Lilydale Assembly Incorporated, the official Facebook page. They are currently updating the website. So as they're adding all of the workshops, there are so many of them, like 250 or something. So things are being added. And so just make sure you keep checking back because more and more is going to be there very soon. Hi, Dale. Hi, Martin and Hillary. Nice to see you guys. And let's see, what else do we need to know? So my page is Colleen Vander Zijden, Medium and Empowerment Coach. Excuse me. And you want to make sure you're on my page so that you can, hold on, it's telling me my internet has a problem. Well, let's hope my internet keeps working. What was I saying? I don't even remember. Anyway, whatever. So I'm just going to move on. Let's see. So tonight we are going to be talking about triggers, loving your triggers, and looking at them from a different perspective. On this show, my show every Tuesday night, as I'm here to help you live your best life. I'm helping you look at yourself from a different perspective to see that you really are amazing and that you can live the life you want. So we can do that by learning all sorts of different things, and tonight we're going to talk about the triggers. You do want to be on my page, Colleen Vander Zijden, Medium Empowerment Coach, so you can ask questions as I go, as well as later on I will do some mini soul readings, as well as answering questions for personal guidance. So if you have something interesting you want to ask, we'll talk about that. Goodness me, I must be dehydrated. So thank you again for joining me. I'm just going to say hello to people and then let's just get right to it. Hi, Kara. Nice to see you. Hi, Lori Lynn. And thank you. I'm glad I'm here myself. Hi, Corky. Good evening. Please, I would like to ask, is there still somewhere out there for me missing companionship? Okay. Yeah, we'll probably talk about those kinds of things later. Hi, Lisa. Rough couple days energetically. And actually, you know what, Lisa? Thanks for bringing that up because I do want to mention that, you guys. In case you've noticed, you haven't noticed, but you've been feeling off, unbalanced, unusually emotional, up and down, feeling a lot of catastrophic kind of thinking, feeling like you want to give up, those kinds of things. The energy is insane right now. I know I've been saying that for 7 months, right? But it was getting better. And we've kind of taken a dip. I thought we'd be a little bit better along by now, but it is improving. It really is. So just know there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep being. Okay, just keep being and doing your thing. Okay, so let me get to my topic tonight. So I'm going to tell you a little story first about being triggered. So a long time ago, I met with my financial advisor. He had been managing my 403B investment plan for quite a few years, and he was a good guy. But at this meeting, he seemed a little bit off. He was trying to convince me to move my investment to a new company that he apparently was going to be working at. Although he hadn't been pushy or rude in the past, he was quite pushy on that day. And I said I wasn't going to move anything yet because I didn't have enough information. And so then we started talking about what I was going to do after I retired from teaching in the public schools. And I said, it was at least 10 years away when we were talking about this. And I told him I was going to continue doing my coaching, teaching workshops, and doing readings. And he was really dismissive with me. And he said, that's not a business, that's a hobby. And that's when I got triggered, right? Now, fortunately, I didn't flip out at him as we frequently do when we are triggered, but I was very defensive and I said, no, it is a business. I have a business license. I have insurance. I'm making money and doing okay. And he continued, that's not a real business. And then he went back to trying to convince me to move my money. It was very strange. And the next day after he left, I got a new advisor immediately because his energy was way off and I didn't like it anymore. But because I was triggered, I kept complaining about what he'd said as the days went on. I can't believe he said that. I can't believe this. This is a business. And if you're at all interested in living as your best self, learning more about who you really are, living as your soul or your spiritual self, triggers are an amazing way to learn more about yourself. When we get triggered, and you all know what it's like, right? When we get triggered, we have an immediate reaction. Something inside of us wakes up or even snaps, we might say at times, and we usually feel defensive or upset. Sometimes we're out of control in our reaction. We might yell at somebody, and it's like anything or everything that has ever bothered us comes roaring out of us. What has happened is we have become emotionally hijacked. We are out of control. The emotions are just so strong. They're overwhelming us. And whatever is happening is just happening. And it's really difficult to stop it. We usually complain and repeat the story how we've been wronged, what a horrible person someone is, etc., etc., etc. Lots of times we stop there. We don't pause and look at the triggers to find out what's really happening. But if we do, we can learn so much about what's behind them. And it's usually related to our own limiting self-beliefs. They're disempowering beliefs that we have. I have found that looking at triggers as an opportunity to learn more about myself has really helped me understand what's going on in the background when I get triggered. So what is going on when we get triggered? Something happens, okay, right? We have an instigating, some kind of thing happens, and we instantly have an interpretation. Okay, in our mind, it happens. We don't even know it's happening most of the time, right? We've assigned a meaning to the situation, and frequently it's a meaning about ourselves. And we may not consciously know what it is. We may not consciously even know it's happening, but it happens. And everybody does this. We have different responses to it, but we all create interpretations and meanings when something happens. And then we have the reaction based on the interpretation. We think our reaction is based on what has happened, which is certainly a part of it, yes. But really, the reaction is based on our interpretation. We usually think another person and their actions or whatever caused us to be triggered. So we might blame them. I can't believe that happened, blah, blah, blah. And while absolutely affecting us and sometimes truly being upset is a legitimate response, but the true trigger is coming from something inside of us. We've been triggered because there is something within us that we need to look at, to explore, and finding the source of the trigger can lead us there. With my financial advisor, he dismissed my business as not a legitimate business and said it was a hobby. And when he did that, I felt so many things: shock, irritation, etc. But then I went to, who does he think he is to tell me that my business isn't a business? And what had really happened is that he had triggered my not good enough vibe. I felt like he was dismissing me as a person as well as a business owner. I felt like he didn't respect what I do, which in my mind, I turned it into not respecting me. And while I could definitely be irritated by his disrespect and dismissiveness, staying in irritation isn't helpful. We all know that when we get triggered, sometimes we say and do things we probably shouldn't. And it's also just not good for us. But if I recognize that my feeling of not being good enough is triggered, has been activated, I can use the situation as an opportunity to strengthen my own self-belief that I am good enough. So I can counterbalance that not good enough vibe by making choices that affirm I am good enough. And many of us struggle with an inner critic, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, fear of others' judgment. And all of this obviously is tied into that not good enough feeling. If we can pause and learn to look at those triggers, we can eventually learn to move into loving our triggers because we can see their value and how they can help us be our most amazing selves, living a happier, more peaceful life if we're willing to explore them and make changes. Some people really, really like blaming others for how they feel. They just really do. And I know we've all done it. And the thing is, we're actually really responsible for how we feel ourselves. And we're responsible for how we respond, how we act, what we believe, what we think is true. I don't like being out of control. Like if I get really triggered and lose it, I don't like that feeling. It just isn't great. Okay. Looking at our triggers can help us love ourselves and heal the pain of the past. And once we've learned the lesson from the trigger, we won't be triggered anymore. We'll be more deliberate in our responses. I'm going to just check the comments, see what people are saying. Dale, yep, had a 45-minute volcano a few weeks ago, almost melted the ceiling tiles, right? And that's what it feels like, when we really get triggered. It's like, rah, and we just totally lose it. Devin said, my dad went off on me the other night, really hurt me. All I was doing was trying to, it scrolled on me, sorry, was trying to help him do a task. He grabbed his dog and went inside and slammed the door. I called my husband to come get me. I didn't say a word to him, right? Yeah, and that's another really important part about triggers, right? Because really in so many ways it can be an overreaction. And it does hurt other people. We'll say things that maybe shouldn't have been said. And we can recognize, because that's what we're talking about tonight, right? That there's a lot to learn from our triggers if we're willing to look at them. And in Devin's father's case, he may not be willing to look at it. And then Devin is left picking up the pieces and trying to help herself feel better, right? Oh, yeah. That's how I felt. Slammed when he did that. It was like he loves me but doesn't like me, right? Yeah, so triggers are something else, but so valuable if we ourselves want to move into really living as our best selves. I read a great phrase the other day, that triggers are our responsibility, right? Our responsibility. And if we can embrace that idea, rather than blaming other people or situations for how we feel, we can change our reaction, learn more about ourselves, and be even happier. Even happier if we're willing to give up blaming other people. Julie, I'm glad you know. I'm glad I know what you need. And I shouldn't say I do, because it just comes to me and that's what I talk about. It's amazing, isn't it? So I've got to pause for a minute. If you are just joining in, I'm Colleen Vanderzijden. We are talking about loving our triggers tonight. If you are on the Lilydale Assembly page, you might want to come over here to my page, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Empowerment Coach, because once I get done talking about the triggers and stuff tonight, I am going to do some mini soul readings, also answer some questions for personal guidance. So thought I'd mention that while it was in my head. Now, triggers being our responsibility. We are the only ones who can make ourselves feel better. We are the only ones. We don't want to wait for somebody else to change their behavior. Instead, decide to use the trigger as a learning opportunity. Don't avoid them. We want to understand them. I think it's fun because when I start feeling that trigger thing, I can catch it now. I had to explore it for a long time. I had to look back at the past and see what I got triggered with before, what was happening, what belief was in my head. And I'm going to explain how to do that all tonight so that you can do it. It's actually quite simple once you see how it works. But I find it's really fun because when I start to recognize what I'm doing and how I don't want to go down that path and realize the trigger is simply saying, oh, here's something else you need to look at in myself. Okay. So many things can trigger us, so many things, but I'm only going to talk about a few ways or a few a few ways we get triggered, and then how to shift it into loving the trigger and learning more about yourself, and then shifting those self-beliefs into a more powerful, positive perspective. When we do this, we live that more soul-aligned life that we want to live, right? With more joy, peace, authenticity, meaning, etc. The goals with loving our triggers are two. One, to remove the emotional hijacking, so we can clear our mind and be more deliberate in how we handle situations. We want to stop that emotional hijacking, that out of control reactivity. And the other goal with loving our triggers is to learn more about ourselves. And remember, I'll repeat this again, the root of our triggers is frequently going to be some variation of not feeling good enough. And that not good enough usually comes from something in your past. Right? The way someone treated you, how you tried to cope with a controlling or dismissive parent or partner, feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, so many things. And it can sometimes help to know that the trigger is bringing up those old experiences of feeling unworthy, etc. But to move forward, we don't want to dwell there and get triggered. Well, I can't believe you. Back then my mother said this and she said this and she said this and I felt awful and da 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 da. You're just re-triggering yourself. And now you're stuck in the past. And we don't want to do that, right? We want to understand, we want to see these triggers as what it is, which is leftover baggage, leftover emotions. And then we want to counterbalance the not good enough feelings with a new understanding and shift into positive, empowering self-beliefs. Okay, so a few examples of being triggered, and I'm using the ones that are by people. So when we get triggered by people, okay, there are lots of other ways we can get triggered, but those are the ones I want to talk about because those seem to be the most common, right? So we get triggered by people and some ideas to help you learn from them so you can see how this works. It is really quite simple when you see it. So the number one, and these are in no particular order, they just popped into my head in this order, feeling unseen and unheard. Have you had that experience, right? Someone's not listening to you. You're talking to them. Oh my gosh, my first husband, I was talking to him once and he literally turned the TV up while I was talking to him. Whoa, did that trigger me, right? So somebody's not listening to us, or we think somebody's not listening to us, or we feel like we're invisible. So we want to learn from this feeling. We want to learn from this trigger. And I always say when I'm talking to people about this kind of thing, turn it back on ourselves. Okay, I don't feel heard by this person. So turning it back on myself, I say to myself, am I listening to myself? Am I hearing what my inner self is trying to tell me? Now, in a real life example to speak of, right? We're going to just make one up. So say, for example, you've asked your partner to take the garbage out. They've said yes. Okay, nice simple example. And he doesn't do it, or she doesn't do it. They don't do it. You ask again, they say they're going to do it. The follow through's not there. So you're like, nobody's listened to me. How come nobody's listened to me, right? Or maybe another example of how you might feel unseen or unheard. Maybe you have a friend who only wants to get together because they want to complain about their life, and you can't get a word in on what's going on in your life. In both these scenarios, you feel unseen and unheard. And then what happens when we feel unseen and unheard is we feel like we don't matter, right? We don't matter. Nobody sees us. Nobody hears us. So we turn that back. Again, we're going to turn it back to ourselves. Where am I not listening to myself? Okay, now I'm going to talk about the other part because I know somebody out there is going, but wait. I'm going to get to that part. You know what I'm talking about. I call this, when we turn it back on ourselves, reflection. What this is to me is when something is bothering me in another person, it's reflecting back to me something that I might do, or that I need to become aware of that I also do. And in this case, for tonight's purposes, we're applying it literally to ourselves. Where am I not listening to myself? Where do I not see myself? And then, asking those questions, we'll start to get some ideas. Well, I know I should be doing this, but I'm not doing it, etc. We'll start to get some of those messages that our soul has been trying to give us. And then what we want to do is also move into that next part of feeling like you don't matter. And if you feel like you don't matter, and we're going to use this to learn more about ourselves, and also we want to feel better, we want to get rid of these limiting beliefs, what can you do to show yourself that you do matter? So now it's back in your hands again. Rather than blaming other people for you feeling horrible, blah, 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 now you're going, okay, I'm learning these things, and what can I do to make myself feel like I matter? It may appear that these people don't think I matter. It could be true or not. We don't know if that statement is true or not, but that's what it feels like. But I want to make myself feel like I matter. So what am I going to do? Now, here's a little side adventure for a second here. Learning about ourselves from our triggers doesn't mean we become a doormat and put up with things that are unacceptable. So I am not dismissing behaviors or actions that are hurtful or that make us doubt ourselves or all those things. They're there. They're legitimate too, right? But we don't want to be a doormat. Looking at our triggers and learning about ourselves, it means we honestly explore what's happening and our role in it, our role, how our thoughts and beliefs are contributing to the trigger. And again, we may not know we have these thoughts or beliefs. We may not realize that our not good enough vibe is triggering this. We may not know. But now that I've said it, you're going to remember it. And so the next time you'll go, wait, what's happening here? Right? What is happening? There is a difference in my mind between getting triggered and being upset over something. Okay. Like, I'm going to use a stupid example, but if I have a flat tire, I could be upset about that, but I'm not triggered about that. But if I am triggered about that, what's going to happen is I'm going to be, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I didn't know I was going to have a flat tire. I can't believe I can't change the tire. And I get all that self-judgment in there. I get the doubt in there, the things that I'm limited. I don't know what I'm doing, that kind of thing. So triggers bring up all of that stuff. And that's why they bother us so much, right? The not good enough vibe coming up. And in addition to this, you might also learn as you're questioning, learning more about yourself, why you're getting triggered, what's really happening underneath there. And what I'm going to say is really important. You may learn that you have certain expectations for other people. You expect them to act in a certain way, and when they don't, you get triggered. So this is still your responsibility, because those are your expectations. You may be wishing your partner was more responsible, listen better so you don't have to keep repeating yourself, or that your friend who only talks about herself would actually show more interest in your life. However, we cannot change them, right? We can't change them. We can communicate what we want, what we like, what we think could be different. We can do that, absolutely, right? Just because we're learning about ourselves doesn't mean we don't speak up anymore, right? We can communicate these things, but ultimately we have to accept the people as they are. They're not going to change. When you recognize that not good enough vibe has been triggered, you'll have a clearer mind and you're not stuck in those emotions. You're no longer emotionally hijacked. And then you'll be better able to decide what the next step is in terms of those people. Now, if you fully accept that somebody is the way they are, then you won't be triggered anymore. And I always use this example. So you guys who have listened to me for months and years, I'm going to talk about that uncle at the holiday dinner, right? He starts saying things and he's off the wall. He's nasty. He's racist. He's judgmental. He attacks people, etc. Okay, we can get triggered by that if our not good enough vibe gets triggered, right? Oh, he thinks I'm not good enough. He's always attacking me. He's always criticizing me. And now we have been triggered. Our not good enough vibe is going strong there now, right? But if we recognize he's triggering that and we step back from it and go, oh, I just see what's happening. I'm a good enough person. It's okay. We'll no longer get triggered by him. He'll talk and we'll be like, whatever. It's just the way he is. We just accept it. It's just the way he is. Now, this doesn't mean you have to continue to spend time with them. If you don't want to, if you're just tired of it, you just don't want to listen to it, you don't have to spend time with them. It doesn't mean you like it, how somebody behaves. It simply means you're no longer getting emotionally hijacked. So you accept somebody as they are, and you're no longer hijacked. You're no longer out of control. How many times have you been triggered by somebody and you complained about it for days and days and days? How many times you're getting ready to go see that uncle again at the holiday dinner or whatever, and you know he's going to talk about this stuff, and you get triggered ahead of time before he's even said anything, okay? But if you know the not good enough vibe is going to be triggered or has been triggered, now you don't have to get triggered anymore because you got the message. That's the message. You're done, right? Now, if you can't accept somebody as the way they are, and you still know what's going on, limit your time. Don't spend time with somebody who doesn't care about you. You've got lots of options. You can figure them out. Okay, so when you're doing this, we want to explore how we're feeling, what's going on, how is that belief showing up, and how can we counterbalance the not good enough belief. Okay, and that was our little side journey right now, because what happens sometimes is people go, but he really is a mean and nasty person. Well, yes, okay, he's a mean and nasty person. Accept it. That's the way it is. He's a mean and nasty person. Now what are you going to do about it? Are you going to let him take your power away by making you get triggered by this or not? You don't have to. Your choice, right? Nice and easy. Now, here's another one we'll play with. Another common trigger is feeling like you're being used or taken advantage of you. Somebody's taking advantage of you. Have you ever had that experience? What it is you have this, it feels like an unequal relationship. Maybe you help others, or you spent your whole life helping others, but they don't help you when you need it. I had a client once. She was telling me she did everything for her kids. Literally everything for the kids. She was always there for them. She dropped everything for them. And then a gutter fell off her house in the front, not a big, huge one, not like the whole house or something. And she asked her son to come over and do it, and he couldn't find the time to come over and do it. And so she was really hurt, as you can imagine, right? She'd spent her whole life, literally her whole life, helping them. And then the one time she needed something and asked for help, and she got the no answer. So there is that feeling, right? Or maybe people only talk to you when they need something from you. Now, people who are givers, people who have caretaking qualities, people who are used to helping other people can experience this one quite a bit because it's a lesson for them. It's part of their soul's journey, if you will. Okay. And people who help, and you know who you are, dropping everything to be there for other people. And then you get that feeling, you're like, they don't appreciate it. And what usually happens is one day we wake up, there maybe somebody asked for something, we're thinking, no, I really want to go do this today. And we get triggered in feeling like people only want things from us. And we're tired of them expecting you always to help them. You're always there. And you might feel like they really don't want to spend time with you. And then you realize that relationship is lopsided. To learn from that kind of trigger, okay, and it's a good thing. I'm going to backtrack for 2 seconds. It's a good thing that you want to help people. Okay, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But you want to do it on your terms. And you also want to do it where it's not that feeling of give, and get nothing back, no appreciation, no love, no acknowledgement. You know the difference, right? So to learn from this, we want to know how you're really feeling. And we might be back to feeling like we don't matter, right? We've prioritized them, but they can't help us. We might feel like people don't really care about us. We might feel unloved. And especially if we show love by helping others. So different love languages there, right? If you show love to other people by doing things for them and you want that back, but the person you're showing love to, it's not their love language, you're not going to get it back. So it's not going to feel quite right. You might even start questioning why you feel a need to help everyone all the time. Why you've put your own needs on the back burner. Throughout your life, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, I'll say it until I'm 140 years old, we have been programmed and trained to take care of everyone else first. We have been so programmed that we stopped prioritizing our own wants and needs. We don't even sometimes know what they are because we're so focused on helping other people. And along the way, what happens is we lose our boundaries if we had any to begin with, right? We lose the boundaries. We don't even know what's acceptable to us anymore. So in this situation, to counteract that not good enough vibe, the answer is going to be to reconnect with what you want, to take care of yourself, to prioritize your wants and needs. And along with that, to be deliberate in how you help people. Only help them when you want to, when it feels right. Not because someone expects it and you feel obligated. You know the different energetic feel, right? If you really want to help something, it's a great feel. It's open, it's expansive. If you're doing it out of obligation or a sense of responsibility, trying to meet somebody else's expectations, you're going to have that feeling. It's not a good energy. So you want to continue with that, right? How you're looking at things. Let's try another one. And this one I'm not going to go as deep into because you're getting how this works, I'm assuming. So you get triggered because somebody is always telling you what to do. Ever experienced that one? They're always telling you what to do. They're controlling. You might feel like you can't do your own thing. You might think that they don't know what you're doing. So you're going to feel like they think I don't know what I'm doing, right? Now you feel insecure, not good enough, that you're not smart enough to figure something out. Maybe they think I'm not smart enough to figure this out, that they know more about your life than you do, which is insanity right there, or that you might even feel like you're being treated like a child. Isn't that horrible? Oh, I hate that feeling, right? It's like, hello, So in this case, for that kind of trigger, when you explore it, you want to explore what's going on, what's underneath there. How's that not good enough vibe getting triggered for you? We don't like somebody telling us what to do, right? We really don't. I don't know anybody who says, well, do this, do this, do this. And somebody goes, oh, great, thanks. I know sometimes people ask others to tell them, like some people will come to me sometimes, tell me what I should do and that kind of thing. And depending on the situation, it depends, what the answers are. But generally, we need to learn to listen to ourselves, right? So what can you do to remind yourself that you're competent? Because when somebody's telling you what to do, you don't feel competent. You might feel like a child. You might feel stupid. You might feel suppressed. You might feel scared to even speak your truth because they're going to criticize you, right? So you end up hiding and hiding and hiding and getting smaller and smaller. So how can you remind yourself that you are competent, smart, and can figure things out on your own? There are so many different ways we can do these things. These are the things I teach in my classes and workshops, how to stand in your power, how to figure out who you really are, how to believe in yourself, how to trust yourself. And I can't go into great depth on that this evening, of course. But if you start asking yourself, how can I show love to myself? How can I be kind to myself? How can I recognize I am good enough? It will help you recognize what's happening with those triggers. And there are so many more things that can trigger us, and we can learn from all of them. And so we want to, as we look at these triggers, rather than avoiding them, and sometimes we just avoid them, we don't even know we're doing it, right? We don't even know because we don't explore it. Rather than avoiding them or allowing ourselves to get emotionally hijacked. I love that phrase. It's such a good phrase, isn't it? Emotionally hijacked. You know exactly what I mean, don't you? And that feeling out of control thing. We want to love these triggers. So to do this, like really, and it's not like you have to sit down and go, okay, figure it out. It's really simple. So what you want to do is look at a previous situation or situations that have triggered you. What set you off? Then don't get stuck in the blame. This person said this happened, Don't get stuck there. Think about how you felt. Think about what meaning about yourself was behind the trigger. And remember, it's going to be some variation of not good enough, more times than not. Then use that information to start changing that belief that you're not good enough. To show yourself that you are worthy, you are lovable, you are smart, you are competent, etc. You're going to let go of anything that is keeping you stuck, feeling limited or irritated, etc. And again, there is a difference between simply being irritated, okay, I'm irritated this has happened, and being triggered. Because triggered brings up that other part, the self-judgment. And then we can move into feeling depressed. We can feel depressed. Oh, we feel like we want to give up. One of my newsletters, I don't know if it was this week, I don't know if it was today or last week. I don't know. I can't remember. I've lost track of all time right now. But it was all about that feeling of giving up. We're just like, I'm done. It's over. I can't do it anymore. I'm just done. And it was today's newsletter. It was on black and white thinking, right? All or nothing thinking. when things go wrong, well, I've got to quit my job, or I've got to stay in my job and suffer, right? And there's lots of other choices we can have in there. But we want to look at this and start seeing what's behind there. How is that not good enough showing up? And how can we begin to shift it? It's kind of, what is that phrase? There's something about, knowing what's wrong is half the battle or something like that. So if you know you're not good enough, vibe has been triggered, then you do something about it. It's not blaming. It's not all that. You get to decide how you're going to live your life. You get to decide what you want to do. You get to decide everything. You're responsible. After you've looked at the past and you start seeing some of the things that have happened in your life, and you look at those and you go, oh, I see. That's what triggered me right there. I felt like I wasn't seen. I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like people weren't noticing me. And so then I was sad, I was upset, etc. But when we start seeing what's going on, now we have information so that we can better handle future situations. You'll know what the underlying cause is, what you've typically done, how you've responded, and then you may not get triggered the next time, or maybe you'll have healed whatever part caused that trigger, and it just won't bother you anymore. Wouldn't that be something else? And then you'll have a plan to handle it without getting emotionally hijacked. Triggers are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. I said for a while that I wanted to do a class on love your triggers. So here's the mini version of love your triggers for you. It's so much fun. So while you're here, if you want, we're going to start doing mini soul readings in a moment. And if you have questions about anything and to get my attention, write something that is going to catch my attention. So my guide's like, hey, talk to that person. So if you have something going on in your life, you're not sure how to handle it, or if you have questions about what I've talked about and something wasn't clear, absolutely ask that. You do want to be on my page, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Empowerment Coach, so that I can see your comments. And whilst you're coming over here to ask questions, etc., I shall have some water for a moment. And I do want to mention, if you're interested in any of my upcoming workshops or things like that, you can find them on my website, ColleenVanderzijden.com. I will be teaching an Unstuck class, I think later this month. That is the plan. I got a little waylaid for a bit there. And also the Reimagine Your Life retreat is next month. We're going to be in Niagara Falls. That is all about creating your ideal life. We're also going to talk about we're going to be doing some healing exercises, energy healing, because how can I put this? The energy is so chaotic out there and intense. We have a lot of people who are really struggling to stay grounded and centered right now. So we are going to do some things that help people get back into their power, get back feeling centered and grounded, even with the chaos around us. And while I'm mentioning the chaos, I do also want to mention at the top of this feed here, right up there, I have my freebie. If you haven't gotten it yet, the, I don't even know what it's called, Empowered Path to Inner Peace. That's what it's called. The Empowered Path to Inner Peace, 9 ways to create inner peace even in chaos. If you don't have it yet, it is up there at the top of the description there. So feel free to ask questions, etc., as you're going through that. And I am going to go back to some other things we'll be doing at the retreat. We are also going to do this really awesome process on letting go of blocks and obstacles. We are also going to do meeting your future self. And this future self can be the future self of this lifetime or future self from other lifetimes. There's this theory that all of our lives are at the same time, running at the same time, if you will, and we can access other lifetimes. So like a parallel life, I guess you could call it. So a parallel life, and bring that information that we learn over there into this lifetime. So we're going to do that as well. And I am truly wondering if there is something wrong with my Facebook. Hold on, people. Nope, it looks like it's okay. Okay, good. So anyway, as you are here, no questions this evening? Do you want me to just babble on about something else? Let's do something, since nobody has questions. I am going to pick a page in my book and just see what message is most important for us tonight. That's what I'm going to do. Ready? Okay. We are at, this is a good one. I am on the illusions page. And the magical mind game that goes with that is perfect for what I have talked about tonight. It is retrain your brain. Use the power of your mind to rewrite interpretations, lessening the emotional reactions. Isn't that clever? So, yes, and in here, and the magical mind games, these are things you can use in your mind to help you feel better, basically, right? Because we don't want to be stuck in that emotion. So you use it when you're upset over how you've been wronged, treated poorly, or feel unvalued. You follow the emotional reaction and explore the meaning you've assigned to the situation. Isn't that ironic that I went to that page when we were talking about the meaning that we have assigned to situations in which are causing our triggers? And then you want to choose a different self-empowering interpretation, diffusing the emotions, which is basically what we have done in some ways. Very cool. Absolutely very cool. Okay, so I am quite sure that there is something wrong with the feed, even though I can see myself talking on Facebook. Hold on, I'm seeing if what I'm saying is actually working. Yep, yeah, it's working. Can you guys hear me? Like, can you see me? Can anybody write a comment? Because I'm thinking there's something wrong, even though it looks like everything's okay. So anyway, here we are. So since I can't seem to, get comments, maybe I'll just stop talking. Maybe I'm all done. So anyway, what time is it? 8:41. Okay, cool. So anyway, check out my book, Courageously You, on Amazon. You can find it there. Check out my website, ColleenVanderZuyden.com, where you can find out about my retreat, Reimagine Your Life Retreat. And also check out the events on the Lilydale Assembly Incorporated page. So many fun things are coming. And sorry that we can't seem to do the soul readings and stuff tonight, because that stuff is just not showing up on my screen right now. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to look on my own page on my phone and see if you're writing, if I can see the comments there. See you and hear you. You're great. So I'm just not getting the comments on my computer. Okay, so let me it shows a lot of comments. Okay, so for some reason it's not working. Somebody goes, please don't go. Thank you. Well, some reason it's not working on my computer, so let me just look and see if I can see comments. Had a mic problem earlier. I think my internet was going in and out for a bit there. Lots of comments. Okay, you guys can see me. Okay. 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 Well, I can't see your comments to see who wants a little mini reading, however. So that's the only problem here. I've been waiting. Tatiana, okay, since I can see your name, I am going to talk to you. I don't know why it's not working on my computer, but here we are. Thanks for joining me and putting up with me as I babble on and on and on. So Tatiana, I'm just going to do I'm going to do a little color thing with you, because what I'm feeling is green. I'm also feeling a little bit of a sore throat. Do you have a little sore throat going on? So Tatiana, green for me always means healing, and heart energy goes with that. And I am actually wondering if you are having literal physical healing, but I also know that you're really good about sharing healing with other people. Okay, I know that you're really good at that. I know you like to help them, and that's just a simple affirmation for you. I'm going to do it that way. Okay, let's see. And I can only see a few comments, so oh wait, it's scrolling correctly now. Jeez. Thank you for putting up with my tech issues. I appreciate you all. You're the best. Okay, Sue would love a soul reading. Okay, Sue. Okay. Oh, I'm glad I have my phone today. Okay. Oh, Sue, love your energy. I just love your energy. You have okay, how am I going to put this? A gentleness and a strength. Okay, so there's a gentleness that I really like, because there's a softness about you, and I mean it in a really good way, okay? There's that gentleness. There's also that ability you have to see people as they really are, and at the same time, highly forgiving. And with that, there's also this strength, and I understand that there's been a lot of things have happened in your life, shall we say, that have helped you get stronger and stronger, but I'm loving your attitude. You have such a good attitude. There's also the word freedom comes in for you, and I am loving this sense as well. I feel so free with you, like you are stepping into that sense of freedom, freedom to be yourself, freedom to live life the way you want to, freedom to be who you are. And if you've been wondering about what's next for you, embrace that sense of freedom. Just embrace freedom. Like, what is going to bring you more freedom? Sometimes when I talk about freedom, it also involves our thoughts, what we're getting stuck in our heads and stuff, and freeing ourselves from limiting beliefs, limiting ideas, etc. So freedom, yeah, go with that. See, I love it. That's a good one. Oh, this is fun. Oh, this is fun to watch myself waving my arms about on my phone. I move my arms a lot. You see me in readings. It's ridiculous. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay. And also at my retreat, I do have to mention this, at my retreat, I do like mini angel readings on Saturday night there, and lots and lots of personal guidance and little mini readings for everybody all throughout the weekend. So much fun. Anyway, if you want to know more about the retreat, hold on, it's scrolling on me again. You are welcome, Tatiana. If you want to know more about that, just let me know. Robin Richard Sears. I would love a soul reading. I don't recall seeing your name, so I feel like I should talk to you. Okay. Ooh, this is fun. Right away, I am working on a new thing, okay, a new product, if you will. A new coaching program is really what it is, called Embracing Your Inner Rebel, the Empowered Rebel, that kind of thing. And that was the first thing that popped into my head, Robin, was the rebel energy. And this rebel energy to me that I'm working with now and that I'm teaching to my clients and stuff is all about accessing the part of us that is the powerful part of us, the part of us that follows our own rules, where we don't blindly follow rules that we have been given or that we have assumed to be the case. We don't blindly follow those things, and we do our own thing. With that inner rebel energy, and I'm feeling this with you because what I'm feeling with it is a little different than I thought it was going to be. It is that sense of the inner rebel within you rising up. It is that sense of you claiming your power and stepping into that power and being courageous, being brave, going after the things you want. Something I do when if I get stuck on something these days, I usually say, do something like, what would my inner rebel do? You know, and whenever I say that to myself, I get this jolt of positive energy. And with that, I get more clarity and I know what's next. And there is also around you, Robin, I feel lots of, I'm going to call it beings, okay, whether guides, angels, spirits, whatever we want to call this energy, lots of them holding you up and lifting you up. I feel that sense of you moving into a new iteration of who you are becoming, right? Moving into that, and you have a lot of support to get there. It's that sense of your soul blooming, blossoming, that kind of sense. And I'm really liking this. So if you're having any moments of doubt, you're confused, you're not sure on things, just start playing with that idea of that inner rebel and what the inner rebel would want you to do, and to see if things pop in. Now, in relation to that, and this is for Robin and everyone, sometimes when we are confused or we don't know what's next, we're at a crossroads, we want to just sit in it and be comfortable in it as best we can, right? So we want to stay there. We want to be in that energy. We don't want to feel like we have to figure it out, to think it out. Part of the new energy we're moving into is trusting the uncertainty, trusting the uncomfortable, trusting that the answers are going to come to us. So if you catch yourself thinking too much, you're trying to figure things out, just step back from it and remind yourself to trust, because the answers always come. They really do. Okay, next. Okay, I'm moving on. Heather, I'd love a soul reading around overcoming the not good enough gremlin. Ooh, I like that. The gremlin, right? Right? I wrote a whole book on the not good enough. And I have to tell you, this was all based on my own experiences and based on my own feelings. Oh man, my not good enough vibe was amazing. It was just amazing. And it still pops up every now and then, right? Because, we're human. So here's the thing, Heather. This is interesting because I just know psychically that you're an amazing person. I know that you also are very strong as well. I know that you actually had a kind of a similar situations like I did, where you tried to do everything right. And you may have had some perfectionist tendencies or maybe some people pleaser tendencies and those things. And even with that, you have kept your kindness. You have kept that in there. And when we have those people-pleasing, perfectionist tendencies, we tend to be highly critical of ourselves. And as we've talked about tonight, it tends to go with the past and things that have happened, et cetera, and our longing, if you will, to fit in and belong, to be liked, to have other people's approval. And I'm always telling my coaching people that the more we know ourselves, the more we understand ourselves, the more we believe in ourselves, the less we have this need for other people's approval, and we become much better about accepting ourselves. My guide wants me to tell you to do, I'm going to call it mirror work, right? Where we look in a mirror and go, hey, Colleen, you're looking good today. Hey, Colleen, you're doing such a great job. Keep going. You've got this. Remember and remind ourselves of the greatness that we have. I was taught that it was wrong to be proud of myself, and which made me minimize myself over the years, right? Somebody would compliment me and I couldn't accept it, right? And it took quite some time for me to get past that and recognize that I'm actually okay. Right? I'm okay. You're okay. Heather, you're amazing. And Heather, you have such amazing energy. Do you do energy work, by the way? Because I want energy work around you right now. So if you haven't been doing that, give that a whirl too. You might really like that. There's, with that too. Interesting. Okay. Got it. With that too is I want you, Heather, to do some writing. Okay. Just some writing about how amazing you are. If you have my book, or if you don't have my book, one of the things, well, several of the things we do in here, one of them is we write 50 things we love about ourselves, right? Because that can be really hard for some people to do, because that inner critic, pops right in there. So that might be fun to do, right? 50 things we love about ourselves, and that will help counterbalance that. Yeah, you have such good energy. Anyway, there's that, Heather. I don't know if I gave you to-dos or anything. I feel like I did. Oh, mirror work. Yeah, do that. Tell yourself how amazing you are. What I love doing more than anything is literally more than anything is helping people recognize how amazing they are. Really, how amazing they are, and how we have the power to create the life we really want to have. Like, how freaking awesome is that we can do that? Okay, let's see. Joan Marie, I've been working and recognizing my triggers. Yay! However, I'm always trying to rationalize that it's me and not the one who is projecting abuse and narcissistic behaviors. Yes, right? Now, for those of us, which is probably a lot of us, who have had narcissistic relationships, or people who are abusive or extremely critical or judgmental and stuff, they chip away at our self-confidence. So we do feel like there's something wrong with us, okay? I semi-jokingly say that narcissists are our best friends because they can make us get back to ourselves, because they knock us so off balance, so ungrounded, that we sometimes get pushed going, wait a minute, this isn't right. That's not who I am, and makes us learn who we are. Okay. And when we do that, we start to see ourselves in a different way, kind of like how I was mentioning with Heather. We start to see ourselves in a different way, and we realize we really are strong. We really are powerful. We really are amazing. When we're with or near a narcissist, what it comes down to, it's rare that a narcissist is going to change and become the kind person that we want them to be, or to become the more aware person that we want them to be. And there aren't very many solutions to that, except usually to move on from them. Sometimes we can't, okay? But one thing that really helped me when I had a narcissist relationship after it ended was for me to recognize that narcissism is actually kind of like a personality disorder, and maybe it is legitimately. I don't know the psychological parts of that, like a personality disorder, and they cannot change it. They can't fix it. And part of my issue, and you probably can relate to this just by based on what you said, was that I kept thinking things were my fault, right? That it was me, that I was doing something wrong. But when I realized the other person was the way they were and they weren't going to change, then I could kind of step back and go, okay, wait a minute, this doesn't even make sense. It made it easier because I was no longer emotionally wrapped up in it. I could back up and go, oh, I see. They're saying this, but when I look at it myself, it's not true. So recognizing that may help a little bit there. Yeah. When we're in an abusive or a narcissistic relationship, it's essential that we have a good sounding board and somebody outside of the relationship that can see things from a more objective perspective. And that helps us get back to what's real. I remember going to a counselor during that time and saying to the counselor, I felt like I was living in the Twilight Zone because I had no idea what was real anymore. Like, I had no idea. And once you talk to somebody who is on the outside of it, they're going, well, wait. And they can help us reground and get back in that way. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to move on here and see what else. Let's see. Okay, good. Glad that made sense, too. Joan Marie, we would love a soul reading about me working through triggers. Okay, somebody working through triggers. Okay, I can see that I am freezing myself on my phone. Yes. Heather, I do mirror work. Hold on, I'll be back, Joan. Holding the cracked mirror that was, given to me in my childhood. I am way better at doing 50 things I love about you and 50th birthday cards for others. Doing it for me is a huge project. My inner critic would be saying, you're not deserving, but I can see it now. In my coaching program, and I'm coming back, Joan, don't worry. In my coaching program, what I have them do is we find a word in their 50 things they love about themselves, something they really want to be, and it makes them cringe a little bit because they don't really believe it fully, and we work with that word as an intention to strengthen it. Yeah. So Joan asked about soul reading about working through my triggers. So triggers, we've talked about as you were here tonight, if you were here for most of it anyway. One thing that can be really helpful is to ask yourself, what can I do to make myself feel better? What can I do to make myself feel better? Immediately when we ask that question, we're back in our power. Okay, we're looking for our responsibility in this. Okay, and that doesn't mean that we have caused whatever is happening. Okay, or that we deserve something horrible that's happening to us. Doesn't mean that at all. It means we're recognizing we have the power to change our perspective, to change our beliefs, to look at the situation from a different way. So similarly to what I was talking about tonight when turning things back on ourselves, is if something happens and we get triggered, what can I do to feel better? And again, it might be looking at the beliefs we have. It might be questioning that not good enough vibe. It could be any number of things. So we want to always get back to ourselves. And that is why I wrote this book, is to help people get back to themselves so that they have the power to live the life they want. And Joan, it is interesting because you do have that empathic, sensitive soul energy, right? You're sensitive. You feel things deeply. You don't like conflict. You want people to be happy. All of those things, and we want to acknowledge those and keep those. but not allow yourself to get too far down the rabbit hole in the depression kind of thing when something happens. You might really benefit from working with a positive intention, like I am amazing, I am love, I am kindness, whatever quality that you really want to own as a part of you. I am big on intentions because the power of our words creates miracles and profound changes. And when we really work with an intention, for example, I am love. Okay, if I am love, what does that look like? That means I love myself, I love other people. How do I love myself? Maybe by establishing my boundaries and sticking with them. Maybe by taking better physical care of myself. Maybe by speaking kindly to myself. How do I show love to other people? Maybe it's letting them do things for themselves, or maybe it is helping them depending on how it feels to us. Maybe it's really watching our words. How can we show love to ourselves? So working with an intention, we use that intention as we make decisions and go through our day. And that might be quite helpful for you, Joan. Yeah. Strengthening that inner power. Maybe I should do another show on strengthening the inner power. Maybe. Then another one comes. My life beats me down again. Life is such a challenge, isn't it? I'm going into counseling, not just personal relationships, but work. Okay, good. It is difficult, isn't it? Life is hard sometimes, you guys, isn't it? It's really hard. We'll have a good day and then a bad day. And then we've got the chaotic, crazy energy out there, which isn't helping any of us, even though there's good energy out there too. So I shouldn't make it sound like it's all horrible. But there is that. So, okay. What time is it? Oh, see, I have talked. I'm glad my phone was working anyway, so at least I could see your comments. Hopefully the recording works as it should. You never know, technology these days. So I want to thank you for joining me tonight. If you do want to check out the retreat, absolutely check it out on my website, ColleenVanderZuyden.com. Also, there is a Facebook event with it as well. You can also write retreat in the comment, and I will send you a message on it so you can see. We've got amazing discounted prices for the hotel. In Niagara Falls. It's over $200 off. No, $200, $100, over $150 off the regular price. And we also have discounted registration for the retreat, so the price is quite reasonable. So if you want to come join us, it's all about reimagining your life and letting go of whatever is blocking you from living your best life. And we'll do some healing work and all sorts of stuff. So you can join us there. I will not be here next week because I am doing an event for our soul empowerment community, but the following week I will be here, and maybe we will talk about getting your power back some more, even though I know I've talked about it a lot this year. We'll see. We'll see what Spirit says. So thanks for joining me. Thank you for putting up with the tech issues. And thank you for sticking with me as the internet went in and out. I appreciate you all and love you all. Have the most amazing week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.